Hello and welcome to part 2 of episode 4 of FDT-TV podcast, where we talk everything football. And there's nothing more football this week than a 9-0 thrashing from Leicester to Southampton. And Mike has told me some interesting information about that. Over to you, Mike.
So Leicester have equalled the largest away win in Premier League history with this 9-0 thrashing of Southampton the other day. That's my interesting fact.
Very interesting. Well, so if that's the case, who were the other 9-0 thrashings? Put you on the spot now.
Allow me. So apparently, this is from what I've read on the TalkSport website, that Manchester United were the last team to win a Premier League match 9-0 when they beat Ipswich at Old Trafford in 1995.
I was going to say they've not been showing that form of late, have they?
No, definitely not. And I think it said about Manchester City as well with the other team.
Who beat somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, so Leicester match, stunning Premier League records set by Manchester United and Manchester City in Southampton thrashing.
Fair enough. So I see some of the goals. Some of them are very, very simple play. Clinical, teamwork, quick. Just everything you want to see in a team or in a football team. And
devastating.
Just, yeah. I am thinking I may put a medium-sized bet responsibly, but a medium-sized bet is within my means on Leicester to finish in the top 4.
I think that's a good shout. And we've said this, I think, in episode 2, that Leicester are potentially ones that a lot of teams within the top 6 need to be worried about this year. Under Brendan Rodgers, they're playing some fantastic football. They just want to go out and win.
And I think, well, not I think at all, I have a question directly for Harry Maguire, which I'm going to tweet at him in just a minute. If you're not already following me and Mike on Twitter, our handles will be above us or below us or on us somewhere right now. Do you regret leaving that Leicester team to go and play for Manchester United? Because I don't know about monetary value of what he was on and what he's now getting paid. If he's doubled his salary, probably not. I don't blame you. But actually, in terms of playing football, I think he might have made a boo boo. But Harry Maguire, do you regret leaving Leicester for Manchester United in terms of football? That's my question. I think it was there 2 hat tricks.
Yes.
Jamie Vardy and Perez.
Perez, yeah.
That's it. Not often you see that.
But the thing I did find astonishing from that game was they could have quite easily have started knocking the ball around, playing nicey tippy-tappy football, just to kind of see out the result. I mean, at 5-0, you're cruising, ain't you? Yep. You're cruising. They're down to 10 men. There's no way they're going to get back into the game. But they just wanted to keep going. Keep going.
I think that, but also I think that after Ryan Bertrand got sent off early on with that tackle, which wasn't particularly friendly, was it? Come on. No. Let's be serious now. That could have ended definitely a season, potentially a career. We like a tackle. But
it was a nutty boy challenge.
It was one of those you go, oh fuck me. Fair enough. He looked. Part of me did think, as a foul in build up to play, will VAR scratch it off? But they said no, it was advantage and gave them the red card and still the goal. I thought I was going to scratch the goal off and go, no, there's a foul, free kick.
Yeah,
they didn't, which is good. But yeah, just I think some people say when you're that far ahead to ease off, but I think Southampton were that bad it didn't matter.
Yeah. Well, they were talking on the radio today about after such a humiliating defeat, they should or the manager, I think it's Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Ralph Hasenhüttl, yes.
Yeah, that he should offer in his resignation. Now, I'm not being funny. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the amount of managers that Southampton have gone through recently, they need to give someone a bit of time. I mean, there were people phoning up, some saying yes, he should go, some people saying no, he shouldn't go. And I think that's the wonderful thing about football, is that it is all open to people's opinions. One person will love it, one person will hate it.
Yep.
It just makes it great. But I think, from my opinion, I think they need to kind of stick with the manager.
Yes.
Ironically, me saying this when I'm in the position about Unai Emery.
Yeah, but I will draw your attention to the fact I've not been saying it on here because we've not been doing it for as long as I've been saying it. But Southampton, their business model is set to crumble. They've been bringing through some fantastic footballers for years and shipping them off. That Liverpool team is a mix mash of Southampton players from the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Mane was there, Van Dijk was there. Who else was at Southampton? Oxlade-Chamberlain, originally Southampton.
Did you say Lallana?
Adam Lallana was originally Southampton. But when you look at some of the other ones that they've sold, Luke Shaw, going back from their youth academy, Theo Walcott, Gareth Bale, all these players, if they stayed there, what a team. But when you're going, right, we need to sell them to try and bring in other players, eventually that business model is going to crumble and it's all going to go very wrong. And I think that this is the time where it's going to go wrong. I think you could put any manager in charge there and they're going to struggle. Just because you get rid of the best youth prospects, you get rid of your best players, and it's hard to replace them year after year after year after year. And I think they've done fantastically for the past 5 or 6 years, but eventually that's going to become hard to maintain. Right. We've done record breaking.
Yes.
On to this week's predictions. Yes. We're currently 4-4 in the standings for the end of season forfeit.
Yep.
We have this week's predictions. We'll go with Arsenal first, and as Mike is the professional Arsenal supporter in the room, we will go over to you first. We have Arsenal at home to Wolves. What is your prediction?
Well, for starters, it's against Watford.
Is it Watford? Sorry, I thought it was Wolves. Against Watford. Go on.
I'm going to cut straight to the chase. Oh, no, it is Wolves.
Oh, so I'm right.
Sorry.
Made me doubt myself.
Yeah, sorry. It's the wonders of having the iPad right next to me. I'm going to go. So if we just look at the table, Wolves are currently sitting in 12th. We are currently in 5th with an absolute shocking goal difference. Some poor results. I'm going to go plain and simple 2-2.
Oh, 2-2. You like a draw. I am going for Arsenal 1, Wolves 3.
Cool.
I think you might lose this one.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think Wolves have just got it in their locker to turn up. And if you don't turn up, who knows? Right. We will go now to our game that is with neither of our teams. And this one could... Both managers are under the cosh a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Last few weeks, both managers have been said, "Oh, this could be the game. This could be the game that sees them go." So we have Tottenham, Everton.
Yep.
And your score prediction is?
I'm going to go Everton 1, Tottenham 2.
Ooh. Now, see, I've gone with a very Mike tactic for this one. I've gone 2-2.
Okay.
I think they both got it. Going forward, they're both fantastically. Or can be fantastic. Defensively, both very shaky.
Yes.
And then we have my favourite team, who I didn't back last week. We didn't win, but we come close. We have West Ham, Newcastle. I have gone with 2-1 to West Ham.
Same.
I think you've gone the same.
Yep.
That's the first week you haven't had us down for a draw. I think Sean Longstaff's not there, so only having one Longstaff in your midfield makes you half as good. So I think we've got the quality to overcome that. That's our predictions. We'll see what happens with that. We could go for bonus points because, as we can see, England are in the Rugby World Cup Final.
Come on, England!
Come on, England! So I think we should have not necessarily the score or the winner. We should have a bonus point for the person who is closest guessing how many tries are going to be scored in the game.
Okay.
So I'll hand it over to you first. How many tries will be scored in the Rugby World Cup 2019 final between England and South Africa?
Are we talking total number of tries? As in, instead of, I think, 3 for England.
Total number of tries in a whole game.
Okay, I'm going to go for 4.
Okay, I thought you was going to say the number that I was thinking of because I'm going for 5.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I hope it is. I hope it's an entertaining game. And I hope England come out on top. I've got apprehensions. They've had a very hard game against New Zealand. Arguably the best team in the world. Well, not the best team in the world because they didn't win the World Cup, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
So far, we've covered world records. Not world, well, yeah, sort of matching world records.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered next week's football predictions. We've covered England winning the Rugby World Cup.
Yep.
Now we are on to our favourite subject.
One that we've had very long discussions for and could possibly go on for hours and hours and hours.
And because of that, I think we need to cut in at this moment precisely a very special intro for VAR. So we'll enter that here. We're back. Look at that. Easy as. Nice little intro. Mike, some controversial decisions, not only this week, for the whole season.
Yes.
We had a little discussion in part 1. If you haven't already seen that, go back and watch it. It was a very quick and informal discussion of what we're going to do now. Mike doesn't think they're going to scrap it halfway through the season. I think they might. I don't know. I don't think sponsors and people paying money into it is going to be very happy with it. But some controversial issues this week in the Arsenal game.
Yep.
You said you've done a bit of research on it.
Mm-hmm.
You've said you've got some things to say about it. I'm using the art of dramatic head movement to get across my point. Over to you.
Right. Where do we start with this? I think so. Just going back to re-emphasize the point, VAR's in. I don't think they can get rid of it halfway through the season, as much of a shambles as it is at the moment. I heard that there were 7 questionable decisions from VAR just this weekend. So there's been 100 games now played with VAR. It's been questionable. There have decisions that have gone for us or for teams. There have been decisions that have gone against teams. One of the things that I did want to discuss was that I was watching a interview yesterday with former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher.
Right, okay.
So he did confirm that there were 7 instances of overturned decisions this week, which was funny because we'd actually discussed it in a previous video that
they weren't overturning things.
Decisions, and then this week the decisions have been overturned.
Yep.
So from what I have understood is that the referees have all, I think they're doing them in kind of blocks of 4. Oh, this was what we discussed. They were doing it in blocks of 4, that they go back and look at the games where there have been decisions that are made, decisions that haven't been made, and decisions that should have been made.
Yep.
And basically, I think they're trying to draw up guidelines about how to improve the process.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've stated before that these processes should have been ironed out before the start of the season. Now, I appreciate it was going to be a bit of a teething process, but for me specifically, I think I'm happy that it's in, but yesterday I wasn't happy that it was in. I've been sent some information today to say that the guy that was officiating our game yesterday in the VAR room has only been an official, I think it was for 9 months or 9 games experience. And it goes back to what we have said before, that VAR is subjective.
Yes. You
can have people watching the same game, and I've seen it today. I've read about it. I've watched videos about it today where people have said, I wouldn't have given this decision. Some people have said that was the correct decision. We have spoke about this again previously, that the match officials at the grounds, they have the ability to go and look at the TV screens.
Yep.
But you said a couple of episodes ago that they're kind of discouraged. Now, I remember us discussing this, and then hearing the next day, listening onto the radio, and they were basically emphasising that point, that the referees are kind of discouraged from looking at the TVs because it will slow the game down, and they should be taking that person's, or they should be trusting the VAR official with what they're saying is correct.
Yep.
Now, from the development from the start of the season to where we are now, it's good to hear that they are making steps in addressing the issues. But for this week, it seems like they're trying to overturn decisions just for the sake of overturning decisions, saying
because
we can do
people
this.
Have said they're not overturning anything, so that's overturning everything. Yep.
Yeah. And I get that it is slowing the game down, but the whole point of VAR is to ensure that the correct decisions are given in a game. That was the whole point in it. Now,
from what my understanding of the words that are used in its promotion and its putting out, is clear and obvious errors in 4 areas of the pitch. So if it's not a clear and obvious error, then it doesn't matter. It shouldn't go to VAR. Check the goal, okay, I can go with that, but that needs to be sped up. Like, do you go right in the build-up from play 4 minutes beforehand? There was a foul in that build-up which led to a goal. Is that too far away to say that it's a foul that's affected play, or is it a case of 30 seconds, or is it a case of within the final quarter of the pitch, or where do you draw the line? I mean, I've not read the distinguishments from the Premier League and the FA as to what they're saying it is. I mean, I don't know if you've got any answers for me, or
not at the moment. It's something we need to do. We need to do a bit more research. Yeah,
that's fine.
But at the end of the day, it's costing teams points, money. It just needs to be sorted out quicker. And I appreciate that it's a fairly new process, but it
should have been it's a bit like when you go to a business that goes, right, we're going to update everything, but we're not going to buy the top of the range stuff that we know works. We're going to save a little bit of money and buy middle of the range because we don't want to go too cheap, but it's an off brand and it doesn't quite fit the needs of what we need to do, but we try and make it work. We just work around it, and then everyone will think that it's fine. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, agreed. But and this is the thing I don't understand, is that they've got I'm just going over old ground. They've got these TVs in the studio. Sorry, in the studio. They've got the TVs at the stadiums.
Yep.
Just go and use it. We've been talking at the start of the season. It was like, is there going to be any point to kind of match officials if you've got people that are watching the games on TV? Yes. From one person's opinion, watching the game in a studio, they get time to look at it, and if there's any element of doubt, you've then got a second person's opinion to kind of overrule that decision.
Yeah. Now, I sent a tweet out. If you're not already, follow Mike on Twitter and follow me on Twitter. Our names are here somewhere. I sent a tweet out, which was a video of a referee in the Bundesliga running over to the screen to have a look, viewing it, and making a decision quicker than the VAR is responding to referees now. So why can't they do that? It works in that league. It has been working all season. They're not having the issues that we are. So why not follow their model, or even ring up the German FA and go, hello? I don't know what that accent was. But ask them for advice. Why does it work in yours but not in ours? What are we getting wrong? And it frustrates me. I mean, the VAR room is not at the stadium, is it?
No.
And there is there one official looking at all the games? Or is there an official, a VAR official for each game?
I think there's a VAR official for each game.
Right, okay, that's fine. Because what I was going to say is if it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, you've got 5 games going.
Mm.
Is that why it's taking the time? Because there's only one official looking at it, and he's got 4 decisions he's got to look at individually.
Can you imagine if it's just one person and there's a foul all consecutively at the same time?
But that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, can you look at this penalty decision? Can you look at this red card and there's a goal? That's why it's taking 5 minutes to decide, because he's got to look at each one. So actually, individually, it's only taken a minute or 2, but combined, it's just taking its time. I don't think it's right, though. I think it's ruining the game. I think they're going to lose money from sponsors.
Yep.
I think that's when they'll start paying attention. When sponsors go, I don't want anything to do with it because it ain't right, and it's making us look bad because your technology isn't right. So our technology company looks poor because of it. Because people will associate, well, I don't know if these people do, but so, for example, if Sony sponsor a team or the Premier League or have something to do with it, or Panasonic or Apple or whoever it may be, people out there go, oh, VAR, that's technology that's not right, it gets it wrong, but it's sponsored by Apple, so they must supply it. We don't want to buy that. That's how people think. So surely until these companies go, nah, sorry, we're out, I don't think they're going to sit up and pay attention till it affects the pocket. So I think it's the same as everything else. They'll just get on with it and go, well, we're making it better a little bit. I think I've not met someone who thinks it's working and it's working well and that it's not affecting the game.
Yeah. Pure and simple, it is affecting the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes, don't get me wrong, there have been a couple of decisions. We have benefited, I think, from correct decisions, incorrect decisions on the pitch that have been overruled by VAR.
Yeah.
But there have been a couple of chances now where the VAR decision has gone against us, or it's not even been checked. That's I think one of the things. So this interview,
because it's not always checked, is it?
No. And this is one of the things that was being discussed on with this Dermot Gallagher interview, is that they were saying that some of the decisions that should have been checked weren't being checked.
Yep.
And therefore has potentially cost that team. So they've gone back and addressed it. But just going back to my earlier point, it just seems like this week, it seems like they're overturning decisions just for the sake of overturning decisions.
Yeah.
Look at the goal that we had chalked off yesterday. When at full speed, we were looking at the game, and thinking if it doesn't score, sorry, if we don't score, it's going to come back as a penalty through VAR decision. We didn't score directly from that, but Socrates come in and then bash the ball in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we've then gone back a couple of minutes later, they've gone, no, it's Callum Chambers has fouled such and such. But when you look at it, I mean, TalkSport said it perfectly. Adrian Durham talked about it earlier, that he said that it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You can't give that as a foul when it's not clear and obvious.
Yes.
But therefore the goal should have stood.
Yeah, and it comes back to those words: clear and obvious error.
Yep.
If the referee's seen it and gone, fine, that's fine. Unless they made a clear and obvious error, and the clear and obvious error should be able to be pointed out by someone who doesn't watch football.
Hmm.
My mum should be able to come in and say, that looked a bit harsh. Why did he kick him there? Oh, he dived there. But that's the level of clear and obvious error. If it's a case of you go, well, they've both got tangled up, they're both running up, they're both running to each other at the same time, collided for the ball, foul. Well, no, it's a 50-50 challenge. There's no clear and obvious error. There's no clear and obvious reason why either of those two players have made that dangerous tackle or something like that. Like, clear and obvious. Maybe the FA need to look up the definition of clear and obvious and error, and then put them together and go, is that what we want? Or do you just get rid of it? Or no, it's a lie. Don't get rid of it, but only check the clear and obvious errors.
But then who then decides was the clear and obvious error?
I think if you're a match official and you look at, right, for example, Ryan Bertrand's tackle,
mm-hmm.
He got sent off retrospectively. The referee did not blow him up for it.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at that tackle as a replay, the first time I saw it, I did this. I went, right, that was a clear and obvious error that he should have been sent off. It was clearly a 2-footed tackle that was high with his stud showing. Clear and obvious error. He didn't get sent off. So correct decision. The decision for what's another one that's been overturned? So Mane's goal last week against Manchester United that was chalked off
for
handball. Okay, the handball rule has been changed. Previously, that would have been ball to hand. Would I have said it was a clear and obvious error watching it at full speed? No, because at full speed, did it hit his arm? Did it hit his knee? Did it hit both? I don't think that was clear and obvious. You know, that's where I think you've got to look at it. Was it a case where the referee should have got that decision right, or does he go with his best judgment and rule of thumb as to that happens sometimes? Or do you go with, because otherwise they've got to get rid of the on-field referee and just have VAR. Every decision, every time someone touches the ball, touches someone else, VAR it. And just the fourth official manage it. Don't have a linesman. Just fourth official will inform, or even the screens in the stadium will inform the teams of the VAR decision.
So I don't get why. I mean, I get, sorry, I'll strike that, because not everyone has got the facilities to do that. But with the money that some clubs have, maybe they should invest in that. But if you've got a decision going to VAR, I mean, you look at cricket, for example.
Yep.
If you have if it goes up for review, you get to see what the decision. You'll see the umpire's decision.
Yes.
You'll then see whether the foot's gone across the line for a foul delivery. That's fine. You then look at whether the ball's pitched in line with the wicket. You then look at how high the ball is potentially going to hit the stumps, that sort of thing. why can't they show this information or what's being checked on the TVs?
From what I understand, at the beginning of the year with Sky and BT, they were told, because of what was happening in the World Cup with and in the cup games, with television cameras showing their perspective and putting a line across for this was offside. From a press release that I remember seeing, what they were saying is that isn't the VAR camera, that is Sky Sports camera, that is BT's camera, that is ITV's camera. So their decision or their view of it is different to what the VAR decision would be, or they'd be. So what they wanted to do is limit that to say you can't see that because you can't get the view from the VAR camera. Well, there's obviously a feed going out, so we can see the view of the VAR camera, which is what I think they're trying to put in now with some of the offside decisions. But I get what you're saying. It's a case of one, communication. If you can hear what the ref is saying, and you can hear him talking to the VAR centre and what they're talking through, you might be able to understand it. I think they would be scared to do so because of the amount of errors that VAR is making. So that official in the VAR room is looking at it and getting decisions wrong, or he's not overturning decisions of on-field officials because they are more senior officials.
Well, we spoke about this. I think this was actually last week, where you said about there being kind of retrospective action for the officials. If they get a decision wrong, then they're removed. I think that's a bloody good idea.
If let's put it this way: if you was to turn up at your job, and for what we now 10 games in, and for 10 weeks, get the only part of your job that you need to do, that you're employed to do, and get that wrong every time you go in for 10 weeks, you would either one, probably put on a disciplinary, or even just dismiss. Yet for 10 weeks, officials and different officials who are meant to be high level officials have got it wrong over and over and over again with no, pardon me, but with there's no not reaction, what's the word I'm looking for,
consequences.
No consequence, that's what I'm looking for. And I think until there is, well, I don't care. That I can get the on-field official making an error. The speed of play when you watch things, there are things you go, oh, that could be, or that couldn't be. And that's where he should be able to go, not sure, I'll go and slow it down on the screen. He runs over, boom, that's going to take, what, all of 30 seconds. And he's coming back, yeah, no, I was right on that one, or no, I wasn't, free kick the other way.
Yeah.
Like, why not do it like that?
That's what I was saying earlier. They've got the equipment at the stadiums in order for these people, or in order for the match officials to do it. I'm not being funny. It doesn't even have to be the referee. We've got a fourth official there. They're the ones that could be checking the screens.
Yes. But I think also what you need to then do, though, is mic them up and be able to hear them. And when players on the bench, or managers, assistant managers, coaches are on the bench, are bad mouthing them, or having a go, or telling them they're wrong, or they're stupid, then they're sent off. You are dismissed from the game. Same as players swearing at officials. It's against the rules, but I've never seen anyone booked for it. Every now and again you get one for dissent, where they've kicked the ball away, or thrown something at the ref, or done something really silly. But when they go, oh fucking hell, what are you fucking doing? Open your fucking eyes. Nothing. But actually, if your mic's up and you can hear that, you then should be made responsible for doing those things and getting the equivalent punishment. I don't know.
One of the things I do find frustrating as well is they've realised that these errors are occurring.
Yes.
And they're obviously addressing those issues. But for teams, as an example, if you get it towards the end of the season and they're not getting the rub of the green with these decisions, just say, as an example, you had bottom of the league team third from bottom team.
Yep.
Playing against the team above them.
Mm-hmm.
Last day of the season, they need 3 points to overtake that person, and they get the decision wrong.
Yep.
At the end of the season, they look back and go, "Oh yeah, that was the incorrect decision." That's effectively cost that particular team from potentially staying in the league or dropping down.
Yeah, and for example, you look at Bolton's situation.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped out the Premier League. They then struggled because of the money wasn't there and other things. And okay, I get there's a number of other issues around that, but then almost get kicked out of the league through liquidation of the club.
Mm-hmm.
If that's caused by a bad VAR decision because a team's dropped out of the league and now are not financially stable,
yep,
who's culpable? Because not only have you lost players, I think we think of football clubs as 11 players on a pitch, 7 on the bench, a couple of reserves, a youth team, and some managers. You don't think of the security at the training grounds, the security at the grounds, the caterers, the groundsmen, the secretary,
physios,
the physios, the people who work in the club shop. You don't think of that as the football club. But it is. So when those decisions go wrong and those things do happen, it's not just well played footballers whose livelihoods on the line. It's normal people, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then who's responsible for that? There is an interesting interview. Sorry, excuse me.
That's right.
With Ian Holloway.
Yep.
We spoke about Sam Allardyce the other day, who has got the biggest head in football. We're now talking about Ian Holloway, who's got the smallest head in football. They're two ends of the scale. Both fantastic managers, I think. Both don't beat around the bush. Love Ian Holloway. When he was manager of Blackpool and they got relegated, he was saying that at the end of the season, he got a letter to him apologising because the amount of decisions that were wrong in that season that went against them, that caused them to get relegated, it was something like 13 points. That wrong decisions had cost them directly 13 points, and it just that was, you think they use that as they apologise to him and can't reverse that and relegate someone else now, but they said they was using that as a training exercise to teach officials where it was going wrong. Where that I don't see that translates to now, sort of. I don't see that they're now saying, look, we're getting it wrong, this is how we're learning from it.
Yeah.
Like, if they were to come out and go, yes, we're getting it wrong, but we've looked at what we're getting wrong, we know why we're getting it wrong, and we're going to make it better. This is how we're going to make it better. This is how we're going to learn from it. This is what we're going to do. They just don't seem to do it.
No.
Or they might be doing it, but they're not communicating that to fans.
See, I loved the way that Dermot was saying this, is that we've looked at these set of fixtures, we've looked at these set of fixtures, these are the decisions we should have given, these are the ones that shouldn't have been given, blah 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 blah, and that he said that they're working on areas on how to improve it. I'm not being funny, mate. They can try and improve on anything about that system, but you come to the match day and the decision is there's a decision waiting. Yep. They've got to make a decision there and then, and they're going to end up looking back retrospectively again, potentially in 4 weeks' time, going, we got that decision wrong. Whoops. And that's that's the difference between a win or a loss or a draw. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, or a red card or something else.
Yeah.
Say an injury or for something that they've got wrong. Well, I just had a really good point, but it ended my head, now it's gone.
Sorry, that was my fault.
That's right. But no, what my fault was, it's just come back to me. You can only polish a turd so much, and it don't get any shinier. There's sports that get it right, including football, in other countries. We seem to be the only one that gets it wrong. So it must be the officials that are doing it that are getting it wrong. Because if it works in other countries and it's set up the same, would you imagine it would be along a similar model? Then does that mean that the supposed best league in the world has got the worst officials in the world?
Yeah.
Because if they can't get these decisions right, and they can't get them right with the assistance of video replay from all these different angles, what are you doing as an official? I've got a little rant for you.
Got him.
That I found out the other day, because I was looking at doing some training to do some Sunday League officiating, because I thought, what a better way to be able to comment on it than to experience it. Now, myself, being a man with a beard, am not allowed to officiate for sanctioned football games under the FA.
What?
You have to be clean shaven.
Why? Even Sunday League?
Even Sunday League.
That's a joke.
Right, so you talk about discrimination, they talk about racism, they talk about everything else. It's beardist.
Oh, mate, I was going to say that actually doesn't seem like a bad shout. I'll be up for doing that, but if we can't do it...
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think you can do the
poor
training.
excuse of a beard.
Yeah. No, but I think you can do the training, but when you go to officiate a game, you can only make it so far up the ladder unless you're clean shaven. There was a video I watched on it of a young guy who had been officiating since he'd been 12. He never wanted to be a player. He wanted to be a football referee. He got to the point where he hit puberty. He grew a beard, and that limited where he could go. They said to him that he cannot progress unless he's clean shaven. That's the state of the country, ladies and gentlemen. That's my rant over. But if that's their opinion on it, then how are they going to get these big decisions right? You know,
yeah.
The fact that someone's got a beard or hasn't doesn't affect how they view things, how they officiate. You know, excuse my fart. I thought I'd get it under. Like, I thought it was silent. It wasn't. It's got
some body. I would be actually interested if beards are frowned upon. Yes. I wonder what their position with tattoos would be.
I'd imagine that would probably be frowned upon too.
Unless you're wearing a long sleeve top, I'd imagine.
Yeah. How many referees in the top flight? Let's take it down to League One. Have got a beard.
None.
How many have you seen that have got visible tattoos, whether on their arms, their necks, their face, whatever? How many? I've not seen one.
No. Do you know what? I never actually thought about that, but I'm actually going to be on the lookout now.
Yeah.
I think that's disgusting.
If you've seen one, or there is a picture of one in the English leagues anywhere, then send us a picture.
Yes. I
would be interested. I would like to be proven wrong on this.
I can't believe that. If that is the case, that is. I don't even know.
There you go. There's a little fact for you. Right, we've now been going about 45 minutes.
Unfortunately, it's something that we could go on for hours about. And it's not going to be the first time. It's definitely not going to be the last time that we talk about it. But I think we've kind of brought it to a natural conclusion there.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that we can't solve. We're not in a position to solve it. We are fans that can give an opinion on it. And we should be entitled to give an opinion on it because we're the people who pay to see it.
Yep.
We're the people who go and support it. So if it's a case that it's taking that enjoyment away from fans, myself, Mike, I'm very frustrated with it. That means that out of us two, that's 100%. If you look at all the fans in a game day, let's say an average in the Premier League is probably 37,000, something like that, in the stadium. If there's 50% that's unhappy with it, that it's ruining their experience, their day out, that costs a lot of money these days, and they go, I've had enough of this, I'm not going to go this week. 50% of them go, then what's that do to the game? People moan about stadiums with no atmosphere. Try having an atmosphere with half full stadiums.
Yeah.
I think it'll get to the point where another record for you, because we started off with a record, we'll finish with a record. The lowest attended league game was 3,000. Premier League. 3,000 people.
Jesus.
It was at Selhurst Park. What teams were involved? I only know one of them.
Well, I would say that Crystal Palace is one of them if it's at Selhurst Park.
Wrong.
Right.
It was Wimbledon. I think it was Wimbledon and Ipswich, if I'm correct, but I might be wrong with that.
Is this the old Wimbledon or the
old? Yeah, original Wimbledon.
The Vinnie Jones,
Vinnie
John Fashanu.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's another record for you. So we started with a record, we finished with a record. We've had a lot of moaning in between. We've had a lot of constructive points. Hopefully, the FA will listen, and we will get somewhere where we can enjoy VAR and praise it. Don't get me wrong, I would like to come in and say this week every VAR decision was right. They overturned the right decisions, they overturned the wrong decisions, and they just made the game better, and it all ran smoothly and quickly, and that was that. It would mean that we probably wouldn't have a podcast because we wouldn't have anything to moan about, but I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
So in saying that, I've been Ian.
I've been Mike.
Thanks for watching. Click subscribe, click like, click share, follow us on Twitter.
Check out our other videos if you haven't already.
Check out some other videos. We are working and planning some other content. The weather's been horrendous recently. I think it's going to continue to be horrendous, but we will get together and get something out. So even if it's something, just a short one, but keep your eyes out, keep peeled, and see you later.
Thanks very much.